Hello everyone, welcome along to the debrief after Liverpool beat Bournemouth 3-1. Liverpool's first win of the season. A great result for them at Anfield, but not necessarily the best performance from them. Anyway, you join me, Patrick Smith-Sport, and I'm joined live from Anfield by Stephen Killen. Steve, what do you think of that one then? What's your initial reaction?
I'm just about catching my breath at the minute. It was quite exciting throughout, wasn't it? But I think towards the end, obviously after the red card, you're sort of getting nervous every time they attack. But I think Liverpool done well to see the game out. I think maybe a few months ago you'd be cautious, but it seemed like they had enough experience, enough wealth of knowledge to sort of sit on the ball and think, let's see this game out. And fair goal killed in the end, didn't it? Not sure about the red card, but I'm sure we'll come on to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll definitely move on to that. I mean, let's start, Sean, because it was a great game for the neutral, I suppose. I mean, from Liverpool fans, it was a great game as well. The start, though, was dreadful, wasn't it? We'll start with the bad thing, because what on earth was happening in those first 5 minutes? We saw it so many times last season, didn't we? Liverpool very sluggish in the start, first 5 minutes often conceding. Happened again today. Do you think this will be, a trend that continues throughout this season, or, do you reckon they can sort that one out because they need to, don't they? It's terrible signs once again at the start.
Yeah, but I think we had this last season, didn't we, where Klopp was getting fielding questions about conceding goals every in the early stages. But it's a bit like the game against Chelsea, where we were quite erratic in midfield, but it was quite erratic in defence sometimes as well. But it seemed to sort of cool down eventually, and fair to say, after the Salah goal, didn't really wake up, but he definitely had to wake up in Semenyo blasting the cross out.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, though, it was a really, really shaky start. Obviously, there's the goal they conceded that was ruled out for offside, the goal they conceded that, stood a big, great take and strike from him. And, fair play to Bournemouth. They clearly had a game plan from the off, didn't they? Executed it very well and stunned Anfield. I mean, I think the Klopp was just sort of in shock, weren't they, for the first minutes? No one knew what was going on. But let's move on to the positive show. It was a really nice moment on the 26th minute, wasn't there? There was the applause from Anfield. It's great to see that, unite with the Everton fans across the city, Steve, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's what Liverpool stands for, really, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you're red, blue or purple in these cases. It's everyone sticks together and everyone knows each other through one way or the other. It's quite a heartwarming moment, goosebumps as well. Obviously, it's never nice to see anything like this, but it just shows the unity of the city, and just like to obviously give our thoughts and prayers to the family and obviously rest in peace.
Yeah, it was amazing to see, wasn't it? Yeah, our thoughts with Michael Jones' family. Really, really sad news coming out of Everton now, their new Bramley Docks site. But off the back of that minute's applause, it was a great moment. Liverpool got their first goal of the game, Steve, didn't they? I mean, it was a great way the way it happened, and what a finish from Luis Diaz. I mean, his goals could be really important this season, because I think we all know there's a big 30, 40 goal a season player there potentially. He's starting to show those signs this season, isn't he?
He showed signs in pre-season, and it was almost like what could have been for last season. I mean, we sort of knew what impact he had before his injury against Arsenal last season, but I think now we've seen glimpses of what he can bring, and I think it's exciting going forward. And he looked a constant threat throughout this afternoon. I think Liverpool have someone definitely to call upon, and if any doubts about Sadio Mane departing last summer, I think he's definitely answered it now.
Yeah, I mean, Diaz again today, as you said, in pre-season, he was tremendous. And I know this is a phrase that annoys people, but he does really feel like a new signing, doesn't he? Because he took a bit of time. Well, he didn't need much time to invent the Liverpool squad. Obviously had that really horrible big injury last season. He's going to be so massive for them this term, isn't he? Let's move on to the second goal. It came shortly afterwards. There's been a bit of controversy with this one, because some people aren't sure whether it was a penalty or not. It looks like Szoboszlai's bought it a bit, but he's done well. Salah, of course, slotted the penalty on the rebound. I mean, not exactly a great penalty initially. So there's maybe a case, Steve, where Szoboszlai takes over the penalties, because he's a pretty good set-piece taker. I think there's no chance Salah's letting anyone else up pot.
I think we have to see, though. We've seen Salah's reaction last week, and he wasn't happy about getting replaced. But you've always got someone you can call upon with Salah. Sometimes I think probably puts too much thought into the penalties. Obviously, being sitting here behind the press box is probably a lot different than being 12 yards out against Neto. But yeah, Neto felt. I don't know. I think it's always to make that rage on. I'm sure a few people will be in his ear now, especially now. I don't know how many penalties we've missed in the past few weeks, or past few seasons, or matches, but it's definitely going to be a conversation now in the dressing room.
Yeah, interesting to see how that one pans out. I mean, I'm just going to bring back Grant, because it was a pretty shocking defensive display, if we're being honest, in the first half, wasn't it? Why do you think Liverpool were so poor? I mean, Was it sluggishness? Was it the very attacking, players they've got on the side now, and the lack of a defensive midfielder? What do you think is the main reason for their struggles defensively today?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think maybe the excitement of the occasion got to me a bit, because obviously Anfield's first game this season is just almost like here's the back of your neck, and quite definite at times, but I think it's probably just maybe trying too hard. I think it's hard to put your finger on it for Liverpool at the minute. Miscommunication. I think it's just trying to re-gel. Obviously, they're probably the most experienced back four in terms of playing together, as Gary Neville said last weekend, but it's hard to put your finger on it. It's definitely something that needs to be addressed, because I don't think Liverpool want to be starting games 1-0 down, especially this week with Newcastle in mind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's mainly, it's a completely new midfield. It's a very attacking midfield. But then there's also signs in the first half. They ironed them out in the second half. But individually, the back four were doglegging so many times and playing Bournemouth onside. I mean, it's quite worrying too, isn't it? Robertson was doing it. Trent was doing it. There seemed to be a real dogleg in that back line. But they did iron it out. So hopefully those individual mistakes, we'll see less and less of them as the season goes on, of course. We're only 2 games into the actual season, aren't we? So we don't want to be too harsh on them. They're going to iron out all these mistakes. Let's move into the second half, shall we? The main talking point then, Steve, from today's match is the Alexis McAllister red card. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see it back, but I have absolutely no idea how they've given a red card for that one.
Begs the question, really, doesn't it? You see, if the goalkeeper gets caught like that from a goal, you wonder how the players sort of escape that sort of punishment. But I think it sets a precedent now. If you leave your foot in late, you are going to be susceptible to getting a red card. But even us in the press box here, we weren't entirely sure. We had to watch numerous replays. I think it was slightly higher on the shin. You'd say, yeah, fair enough, red card, but it's slightly late. And I think he was very happy to get his red card out in the end. But I think throughout the game, it was quick to get his yellow cards out. A lot of it must be the precedent set by the Premier League. I'm not sure, but it was very quick for the yellow cards and then the red cards to get up. But it just sets it continues the trend for South Americans on the debut for Liverpool, doesn't it?
There is a trend developing worryingly, isn't there? I mean, as you say, there's a precedent this season. They've set, referees are going to be a lot stricter with players back chatting them. We're seeing a lot more yellow cards, aren't we? And with VAR, I think they must have changed, haven't they? Because I think now it has to be a clear and obvious mistake to change the on-field decision, which must be the reason for today. Because it's just baffling to me. Why have the technology there if you're not going to use it like in that scenario? Because it's never a red card on McAllister. And I don't like to be talking about referees and VAR on this show. I like to talk about Liverpool, but you can't not when it's that glaringly, obviously a mistake. Baffling how that happened. But anyway, it could have bothered Liverpool because at that point, 2-1, Bournemouth were still relatively in the game. Obviously, Liverpool going a man down. I think there was a bit of worry at Anfield, wasn't there, Steve? But then they got the goal. Diogo Jota typically doing what Diogo Jota does. He can often be the worst player on the pitch, but he gets a goal. I mean, typical Jota fashion, that, isn't it?
Yeah, he was impressive throughout. I think we had some concerns about what role he played, especially with Gakpo dropping into midfield, and he definitely showed that he can play this number 9 role. He led the line very well. He's that Johnny on the spot type player, isn't he? But I think mention has to go to Szoboszlai, because throughout the game he was absolutely incredible. I was up there with Robertson, I think, for one of the man of the matches. But I think especially if you are Szoboszlai, I think if you want to enjoy yourself to Liverpool fans, I don't think performances like that can do much better, because he was absolutely phenomenal, and possibly at times he could have had a shot instead of passing. But back onto Jota, it's just what you need for strikers, isn't it? It doesn't matter if he has one touch or 100, as long as he's there in the 6-yard box and tapping him in. I think Liverpool fans especially will take that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Jota does exactly. So I'm not necessarily convinced myself he was one of the best players today. I mean, off the ball he was great, tenacious, but I think on the ball there's a few times where he's a bit sloppy. Maybe his chances he could have taken, but yeah, took that one so well, as he always does. But yeah, you've sort of touched on my next question. I was going to mention Szoboszlai, because he was absolutely outstanding today, wasn't he? I mean, he's going to be a huge fan favourite at Anfield. He's basically what he is, isn't he?
It makes you wonder what we've done for the past few years about the midfielder like that, because you see him on the ball, you just wonder how's he. What's he going to do? And every time he gets the ball, you just think something's going to happen. I think Liverpool have got someone to rest the hat on this season. I think the midfield looks promising. Obviously, we've seen Endo come on for a brief cameo, but I don't think probably the game suited him. Obviously, being down to 10 men, you can't really draw too many conclusions on a performance like that. But just on Szoboszlai, I think just his turns, his intricate play with midfield and forwards and defence, he just sort of unlocks different gaps. And he picks up them gaps superbly, but obviously the only downside is he can have a shot when he should be instead of passing. But even still, he's done well for Alexander Arnold, where he dummies, and he's just that constant threat. Liverpool maybe have lacked that midfield threat in recent seasons, and you've seen it with on such another play with Gakpo. We saw them played a few decent runs with the ball as well, but I think Szoboszlai, I think if he's setting the ceiling that high already, I think we've got a very exciting player on our hands.
Yeah, it's a real threat, and as you said, it's baffling to think we haven't really had a ball-carrying midfielder like that for about 3 or 4 years, have we? And, of course, he's going to eventually bring the goals from midfield. But, just quickly there, you mentioned Endo coming on. I know it's a hard one to maybe assess. How do you think he played today? Promising signs. I know it's a difficult one to kind of assess him on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to really draw too many conclusions because Liverpool are always going to defend, especially being a man light. But he probably from that calm, composed head in midfield that Liverpool have been crying out for however many years now, or this season at least. He showed good glimpses, good tackles. He paced forward at one point. I think he had to check himself to see whether he should actually be in the 18-yard box. But he's another player that Liverpool have been crying out for. I think it's just a matter of how many games he's going to get out of him this season. But we've seen Klopp's reaction and how he spoke so highly of him. So I think if you want to put your trust in Klopp, which I think we should all do, he's got enough backing from everyone around the world, especially from his former Bundesliga teammates and opponents. So obviously it's going to take time for him to bed in, but I think if he just does what he does best and just sits in that midfield, I think we can sort of relax a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, with McAllister's red card, if it doesn't get overturned, I think it should be overturned. We'll probably see Endo starting next week, won't we, at Newcastle? Highly likely that'll be the case. But yeah, we're at the show there. Thanks, Steve, for joining us from Anfield. And of course, thanks to all of you watching along with us here on the Blood Red channel. We'll be bringing you Jurgen Klopp's press conference as soon as we have it, so make sure you subscribe to us here on Blood Red. We'll check them back in for that one later. But for myself, Patrick Smith, and Stephen Killen from Anfield, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you again soon.